Okay. Dolphins.
Are you following the college recruiting today, Omar?
I'm not. I stopped caring about college recruiting. I think probably when they changed it from February to December, which I thought was a smart move. And then the whole transfer portal thing. It's like kids could go anywhere, anytime. It's like free agency of college football. And to me, it's not about who you sign. It's about how you develop them. As I've said to you and publicly for years, UM's problem has been talent development, not talent acquisition.
I think it's a little of each. They need better players, and they need better coaching. You look at the coaching staff when they were great, and all those coaches went on to something else, and that's
yeah. You got to be a coach. The head coach has to identify future stars, not just future great recruiters, but position coaches. The Don Sollingers, Art Kehoe's, Curtis Johnson. Curtis Johnson's still coaching the best receivers in the NFL.
Chuck Pagano. Was it Chuck or John Pagano? The Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was.
I forgot about Pagano. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's rock.
I got my sip in. Get the Sun Sentinel sip from Omar. We're ready to go now.
Yeah. This is the time for the contenders to begin separating themselves from the pretenders. Dave Hyde, the Miami Dolphins have a Hail Mary chance of qualifying for the AFC wildcard if they can win out, get to 10 wins, pull off victories in the final 4 games, extend that winning streak, Dave, to 9 straight games. And even then, Dave, Miami might need a little help to get into the dance, but there's a chance. But this all starts with winning the final 4 games, which begins with Sunday's home contest against the New York Jets. The old rivalry, not much of a rivalry anymore, but it'll be an interesting game. Dave, do you believe in these Dolphins?
I don't disbelieve, Omar. I don't disbelieve. But if we're talking playoffs, winning 9 straight, and for any team is tough. And, I mean, let's be honest. They've gone through butter of a schedule in the past five games. They have won. The Ravens were a tough opponent, but you look at who they've played the rest, and look, they've taken care of business. I'm not throwing shade on them or anything. I'm just saying let's just you need to see more. Okay, you need to not against the Jets coming up. Come on, this is them and the Jaguars are the worst team in football. If I'm a Jets,
the Jaguars got the Dolphins.
Yeah, right. That's true. One of their 2 wins. Okay, any given Sunday, right? But
any given Sunday.
But if we're talking, okay, where are the Dolphins going to be the last 3 games? That's what you're really talking. Can they win in New Orleans? Can they win at Tennessee? Can they beat the Patriots at home? That's what it's going to come down to.
I'm not a big believer that they're going to be playoff bound or that they're going to get to 10 wins. I think at some point you're going to hit a hiccup. To me, I'm not beginning this playoff count, the in the hunt watch, until they produce a winning record. So I'll keep watch for that, but you got to get to a winning record. That means beat the Jets. That means beat New Orleans. And then we can open our eyes and get all excited about the playoff chase. Miami's facing a COVID-19 crisis this week, Dave. 4 players, 3 members of the tailback unit. The free safety, Javon Holland, who's arguably one of the top 5 players on the team right now, even though he's a rookie. They're on the COVID reserve list. There's a chance that they can come back off the reserve list if they produce 2 negative COVID tests within a 24-hour period before 4 p.m. on Saturday, Dave. We don't know the medical science in this whole situation. We don't know which version of COVID that they've caught. But how will that impact Sunday's game?
Well, you see this going around the league right now. I mean, there's a lot of teams hit a lot worse than the Dolphins. Some of the question is, can they even line up a unit? Any of the running backs aren't a problem. The fact that it's hit the whole room, that's a problem. Okay. But Javon Holland is the guy they need back. I mean, you look at his impact when he grew up this season, the defense grew up. When he was ready to emerge as a player, the entire defense got a lot better because of him. So, give me any of the running backs just because you need some.
You just want one, right?
But if you're talking impact, the impactful guy they'll miss, it's without a doubt Javon Holland.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. He's an impactful player. The whole defense is sort of built around him and the cornerbacks. But Dave, I will point out to you, the entire running back room either caught COVID or went on IR. The entire room, everybody, Dave. They had to activate Duke Johnson from the practice squad. And to be honest with you, Duke Johnson's probably their most accomplished running back on the entire team. So it's kind of like, and then they'll get Malcolm Brown. He practiced today back. We don't know where he is coming back from the knee injury. They always think they're better than they are. But those are likely the two bodies with Jared Dokes, the rookie running back who's been here, from 7th round pick from training camp. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But your entire running back room of one of your worst performing units,
pick somebody off the street, Omar. You just need one or two of them back.
I'm not sure they can do worse. Our first question comes from Rich Miller. Which players have flown under the radar during this 5-game winning streak, but has started helping this team win these 5 games? Now, I'll let you kick it off, Dick.
I think all the Dolphins have got proper credit for what's going on. Okay, the Waddles, the Jalen Phillips, Tua. So if you're asking me who's flown under the radar, it's the opposing quarterback. I mean, look who they beat. They have not only played bad teams, all but the Ravens were losing records and some of the worst, but they played backup quarterbacks, starting with Tyrod Taylor, who's now benched. Cam Newton stepped in. That wasn't the Cam Newton of 2015. Joe Flacco, should he even be in the league? And Mike Glennon. Okay, so if you're asking me what's flown under the radar, it isn't the Dolphins. The Dolphins have stepped up. We've seen some guys take nice, impressive strides, but the opponent has to get a tip of the cap too here.
Hey, you play who's on the schedule, Dave.
I agree. Yeah.
And listen, at the beginning of the season when Jacksonville thumped them and the Falcons thumped them, nobody was talking about how weak that opponent was. And if that's
they were. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, they were. That compounded the Dolphins' problems. The fact that they lost to Jacksonville. That told you this is a real problem start for the Dolphins. So
yeah.
But look, they've been handed some opportunity to start playing better and to get their seat, and they've done it. They've got things back on track. So I mean, credit to them.
I think the guys who are falling under the radar, because you're right, a lot of guys have gotten a lot of praise. The Andrew Van Ginkels, the Christian Wilkins, who arguably is having the best year of his career. Van Ginkel is coming back to his, always around the ball, not necessarily making a play, but impacting a play kind of nature. And then I'll give you another one, Duke Riley. I think his emergence as kind of a pseudo starter, another inside linebacker, has allowed Jerome Baker to play sort of an edge player, which has allowed Jalen Phillips to play just a pass rusher. It's been a sort of a domino effect of guys, but guys are in and out, guys are getting healthy, so it's a number of things. But I'd say the underappreciated guys are Andrew Van Ginkel, Christian Wilkins, Duke Riley, and then I'll throw another one on, Mac Hollins. 4 touchdowns in What is Matt Collins? 4 touchdowns and 7 receptions.
Okay. Right. Duke Riley, he steps in and he is taken up what was really going to be a question on the defense and made some big plays. Okay, Bryce wants to know, Omar, does a chance to offensive coordinator or O-line coach need to be made in the offseason? Feels like the consensus among fans is yes, but I question whether the team will really be better off with even more turnover to the offensive staff.
To me, I think it comes down to who can you hire if you're Brian Flores. And I think that that's been a major issue in the last couple of off seasons, the last 3 off seasons. He has now he's on his 3rd offensive coordinator. Do you want a 4th offensive coordinator in 4 years?
He's had 4 already. This will be 5. Remember, he went through 2 the first year.
So you're going with the joint. No, that's offensive line coaches.
I'm sorry. Right.
That's a totally different subject there. Yes. Do they need a new offensive coordinator? I think it really will depend on how they finish the season. And I'm going to look at how Tua's unit particularly plays and how they stack up in terms of the rankings, because hell, they weren't running the RPO offense with Jacoby Brissett. That's the whole offense that they're built, and now they're building on it. They're adding to it. They're adding elements to it. That's Tua's specialty. I like what I'm seeing so far. Wish they could score more points, but I'm not being greedy. I know what the issues are. Now, the offensive line coach. John Pierre, their position coach, who's in his first year as a head lead position coach. Like him, like what he represents, like who he is, do not like the unit.
You were setting up that last line.
Do not like the performance. Just feel like they need better. And he's not the only position coach. I think just about everybody on the offensive side of the ball is a level higher than they probably should be. And that's smack in the face of Brian Flores. When you are a defensive coach, and Brian Flores doesn't like anybody calling him a defensive coach because he worked on every side of the ball, he's worked on every part of the organization. But when you are a defensive coach, the limitations that you have is who do you know on offense that you could hire and who could you entrust to build your team on that side of the ball to allow you to focus on what your expertise is. Now, I've always had a problem with the fact that Brian Flores' team, in what his vision of it is, has never actually been executed. And even last year with Chan Gailey, love the points, love the scoring, love the execution and the efficiency, but you weren't what Brian Flores said in words what he wanted his team to be. To me, that's a problem.
Yeah, I'll just answer. Yeah, you need the offensive line coach. They need to do something there, okay? Because when you invest that much into these players, it's either the drafting of them or the coaching of them that's the problem. Well, you can't undraft them, so you got to try to find someone who can maybe get something better out of them. And there's going to be turnover on the offensive line again because you're going to need better players in some cases. So, but I think those questions are for down the line a little. I'm with you. Let's see what plays out over the last 5 games and see where we're at with the offense before we start saying who has to go. And
the offensive line has played better, but, you know, we're a quarterback injury or a 4-sack game away from being a disaster again. Props to them for improvement. Props to Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson and Michael Dieter getting back in there and really, you know, but it's not good enough, and they'll acknowledge that.
All right.
Now, here's a question for me to ask that comes from Sean. Is Dave Hyde finally over Minkah being traded away now that Javon Holland has played well?
You mean, am I over wasting 2 to 3 years to get – I love Javon Holland. How can you not love what great draft pick? But you could have had 3 years of that guy in your defense. And I hate when people, and this is where Dolphin fans are. Oh, now doesn't matter, or last year doesn't matter, or the year before. just throwing away seasons.
It all matters.
I never understood the trade. I don't understand the trade. Javon Holland's a great player. Okay,
But he could have been teamed with Minka.
Can you imagine that defense to get with that up the middle?
But you know what I find interesting about that? Brian Flores would have never given Minka the role that he gave Javon Holland, which was kind of the issue.
You know,
Minka wanted to be the center fielder, the free safety, the last line of defense guy, and they wanted him to be Eric Rowe and give that job to Bobby McCain. And I don't know where maybe Brian Flores learned a lesson from this.
Well, let's put it this way: Minka Fitzpatrick, 2-time All-Pro already in his career. Okay, All-Pro, not Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl, that's nice. I'm not disputing that. All-Pro, you're top of the line. You're the best in the league. Okay, this roster, that's what they're trying to collect, those players. So don't tell me, am I over? No, I'm not over that trade. But they got a great safety.
Listen,
right now.
Hey, but Dave, you should be okay with the fact that you got Austin Jackson from Minka Fitzpatrick, Dave. And then Noah Igbenogany for the last first round pick of that draft.
Let's move on, Omar. Let's keep it moving here.
That's what Dolphin fans always say about their talent. Let's just keep it moving. There are 3 major catalysts that has served this team and helped them rebound from this 1-7 NFL start. Let's start with the resurgent defense. They got back to being aggressive. They got back to being stingy. 11 points per game in the last 5 victories. 4 touchdowns total in the last 5 games. And then there's the commitment to balance from the running game and the offense. While it's not pretty, 3.3 yards per carry is right down there, 31st in the league. They're usually 30th, 31st, 32nd. But the commitment to running the ball 28 times per game in the last 5 games forces teams to have to play the run and opens up the passing game, had allowed Tua to complete 78% of his passes. It has helped. The balance is important. And then we've got Tua Tagovailoa, who has been blazingly hot during these 5-game win streaks. It's not major numbers. It's not Justin Herbert numbers, but he's completing 78% of his passes. He's produced 4 straight 100 passer rated games. Now, the question that we need to answer, and we will get an answer in these final 4 games, is this a mirage or is this really who Tua is, Dave?
I hope it's not who he is, okay? And I agree he is playing well. He's maximizing on some level.
You want more?
Omar, this offense is averaging 21 points a game. And let me get to – I get there are problems. He's hamstrung by a lot of issues on this offense, okay? But when you say, is this who he really is? I hope not. I hope he can throw down the field when you get some big boys to help him out. And so – yeah, I'm hoping he's saying, and the Dolphins coaches are saying, this is how we have to win right now. But you know what? We know there's a lot more to his game. We just can't get to it this year because you know what? I see Justin Herbert throwing 50. I threw him 63 yards in the air as he's getting hit for a touchdown on Sunday. Okay, and that's what you need. And you need a quick strike in the NFL. Not every weekend. The Dolphins haven't had to have it in the last 5 games. But if you're talking winning big, you need to have a quick strike offense sometimes. And so, yes, I wrote a column. He's playing as well as you could hope for right now. But that better not be all there is to his game.
If this is it, 95 passer rating. If you said to me, I'll give you Tua at a 95 passer rating for the rest of his career, take it or it's off the table. I'm going to take it, Dave. I'm going to take it. A 95 passer rating is winning football. It's efficient football. It's I don't turn the ball over. I protect the ball. I convert 3rd downs. I score in the red zone. And while it's not hero ball, which you want, the fans want, fantasy football wants,
No, I think you need to be able to do that, though. You're not going to be in the lead. You're not going to be in the lead.
Do it for long stretches, Dave.
You're not going to be in the lead in the fourth quarter all the time. Okay, I mean, you're going to have to come back some games against good teams, and I'm not saying he can't do it. He hasn't. We haven't. We're not going to know this year. Everybody wants to. Oh, he's a great player. I don't know. You have to know a lot more about quarterbacks than me, and I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I have no idea if he can be the guy who's going to have 95 rating or whatever, or this is what he is, a tic-tac-toe offense. I don't know.
Did you call it a tic-tac-toe offense?
I did. And I get why it is that. Okay, I get why it is that.
No line, no running game, one receiver.
I'm with you.
A tight end pretending to be a receiver, or a receiver pretending to be a tight end. Like, for me, it's pretty good. But let's address another thing. There has been an onslaught of negative criticism, overanalyzation of Tua's game. And let me give you my perspective on this. And I know this because, the Sentinel always wants us to look at numbers and look at how things perform and look at the metrics and look at interactions and all this stuff. All this stuff I ignore. I ignore all that stuff. Talking quarterbacks, though, and particularly talking Tua, that moves the needle. That it jumps off the page, moves the needle. And I think that a lot of these analysts who are seeing, the Dolphins are getting results. Oh, look at Tua's completion percentage. Oh, that's because he's not throwing the ball more than 7 yards down the field. There are a lot of Drew Brees' final 3 years of his career, he looked exactly like Tua looked. Now, he had a better running back who could pop it big, and a big play possession receiver, and a competent offensive line, a good head coach, and a cachet of an organization that won, whereas Tua doesn't have any of that. And I feel like it makes him an easy mark for people to criticize and attack.
I just think there's a lot of shows out there and a lot of time. And Tua's not being singled out. Every quarterback in the NFL, right? You know, name a quarterback.
You don't think Tua's being singled out?
Patrick Mahomes was being ripped for the first half of the year. Aaron Rodgers carried all conversation for 2 or 3 weeks. All right. Tom Brady. I mean, Justin Herbert's been he went down for a while. Oh my God, that's who. And yes, Tua's been.
Do you hear people talking about Joe Burrow? What about Trevor Lawrence? No, I don't. No, they're not. Nobody's talking about Trevor Lawrence.
No, they're not.
What about Zach Wilson? Zach Wilson is a horrible quarterback.
But you don't hear anybody talking about the Jets at all.
Yeah.
Other than us on this show in a little bit, because it's all about him. But
Zach Wilson is horrible. He's terrible, and nobody talks about it. I don't hear anybody talking about Burrow. I don't hear any. All I hear is Herbert. Herbert.
Oh, you hear a lot of Burrow. I hear a lot of Burrow. But
I just feel like.
I just think one of the guys I respect, Chris Sims on NBC, he's very good with quarterbacks. He's very good breaking down quarterbacks and everything. And I didn't see the show. I just saw the clip. So I don't know why there was a debate over who's better, Tua or Jason Hill of the Saints. And I was like, well, why is that a conversational point? But it was, and
Taysom Hill is horrible. And Tua's at least efficient.
Well, he's not horrible. He's an odd quarterback. You have to factor his running into his quarterbacking. Okay. Well, you're going to see him in another week, so you can get him up close and personal in New Orleans and see.
And maybe it'll change my opinion.
I'm with you. I'm not saying he's better than Tua. I'm just saying it was such a bizarre debate. Why would you have that debate?
I think people get so entrenched in their position, they just have to defend it. And Phil Sims,
I agree.
Phil Sims has been a anti-Tua guy from the get-go. And there's mileage to get out of being an anti-Tua guy. Yeah, I mean, trust me, Tua and is on you, whether you're a Tua supporter or you're anti-Tua. If you say Tua, Tuanon is clicking, and they're looking, and they're watching, and they're commenting, and they're defending, and and I think that attention, unfortunately, this part of journalism now is it's attention seeking. Not that I believe in it.
I don't think that. I think Chris Sims doesn't need to say compare Taysom Hill to Tua. There was a reason for it. There's a lot bigger subjects nationally than Tua.
But he felt attacked by Tuanon and felt like he had to dig in and defend his comment. Like, bro, that's a dumb perspective and take.
Oh, he said some right things too. He said,
yeah,
you don't draft a quarterback 5th in the draft and have him throw 5 yards. I mean, that's not the point of that. Okay. Now it needs context of where the Dolphins are at, but when we tried to put context that Ryan Fitzpatrick was throwing deep last year, we just got ripped for it it was Chan Gailey's fault. Well, something, again, if this is all Tua is, you don't have a championship team. He's got it, and we won't know that this year because he doesn't have he needs some pieces. Then we'll see where we're at. Okay. But that's my thought anyways.
Alex asked, what does Tua need to show over the last 4 games to continue showing that improvement?
I mean, if you're saying what does he need to do to take the next steps, we're talking throw the ball downfield. We're talking more points for this offense. But again, the context, the offense line ain't good. The running game's non-existent. Other than I agree with you, you need that 3 yards, 3.5 yards.
You need the commitment to it. But it would be nice if it averaged like 4 yards a carry.
Well, let's just get just nice if it was a weapon, and it's not. It's just we're going to run the ball because we're going to try to keep you honest. Okay, and I get that. You got to do that, but score more points. They're averaging 21.5 points with Tua. Okay, so I mean those are the type of things you're looking for. And hopefully he would get Devontae Parker, who didn't practice today. Hopefully they get him back, and we're not going to get Will Fuller. That's off the table.
I think we can kill that right now.
Yeah,
Will Fuller is done.
But make the score more. I mean that's statistically, I'm not sure he can do better than he is right now where he's at.
I would say. You got to play a couple of bad defenses and they have breakdowns. I think that's the only way you're going to see bigger plays. Also, to me, it starts with the caliber of teams you're playing. The Saints, the Titans, the Patriots. Those aren't bad teams, and they're certainly not bad defenses. So it's going to be a good measuring stick. And if Tua continues to give you these 70% completion games, these 90 to 100 passer rating games, these 2 touchdowns to 1 interception game, clean play, I'm all on board.
Yeah, look, they're going to beat the Jets. Then they're in.
Oh, don't
on the doorstep. They're on the doorstep of being in the conversation for the playoffs. Okay, and yes. and you're going to go to New Orleans. You're going to go to Tennessee, 2 road games. So look, he's mistake free of late, and
they've also been at home, not on the road.
Right, and so let's see where those are steps to be taken. Win on the road, win games where the playoffs are again in the conversation.
Same old laugh out loud. Fins has a good question. If you swap Tua and Mac Jones, do you think Tua would also thrive in New England, and would Jones struggle in Miami, or would he be better than Tua?
That's a great question, and I think. Jones, obviously, look, they got a running game, as they showed against Buffalo, where they passed 3 times.
Good line.
You got a proven, offensive system and coordinating, and you're not changing the coaches' roles in the middle of the year. So, yeah, I mean, you would get a max. You would find out a lot quicker who Tua is, okay? And I haven't seen Mac Jones enough week in, week out to know. I know he's getting a lot of praise, okay, from national writers and national people.
Because he's winning. If Tua had a 8-4 record, he'd be getting that national praise. They'd be saying he's the next Drew Brees.
Listen. You're the one who's espousing Tua's winning record as a hallmark of what he's doing. Mac Jones is doing that, so
yeah,
then he should get by your back.
No, hey, it's okay. It's fine. Go for it. I'm not a. I think Mac Jones is a very. I think he's the. You know how they have like rip-off versions of big brands? I can't think of one right now.
Kirkland.
Oh, are you really going for it?
Right up your alley, Omar.
Listen. Defend Kirkland. They are the biggest purchaser and supplier. I mean, Costco, they're the biggest purchaser and supplier in the United States. If they want your product, you're selling it to them. And I would argue to you that Kirkland products are top shelf products, sir.
They say their vodka is a top shelf vodka.
Yeah, it is. And they just started a tequila brand. I bought it and I'm drinking it. And
so you're saying Mac Jones is Kirkland? Is that what you're saying?
Mac Jones is the Kirkland of the NFL, but Tua is the real deal, Dave.
The larger issues there is the Patriots have turned it around in 1 year. 1 year rebuild. 1 year.
Yeah. Steve C. asks, how much of Tua's yards per attempt average is contributing to the higher completion percentage this year as opposed to the longer passes? Obviously, an incompletion counts as a 0 attempt. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, the guy's got one receiver, Jalen Waddle, and one other receiver in Mike Gesicki pretending to be a tight end. That's it from a weaponry standpoint. He's got no offensive line and no running game. What do you want the man to do? Tell me another team. Tell me another quarterback in the NFL who has got and has dealt with all of the smorgasbord of issues that Tua has faced this year alone. And I'm not making excuses for him because I don't believe in making excuses for quarterback, even though this sounds like a laundry list of excuses. The rib injury, the hand injury, the crappy offensive line, the inconsistent running game, the injury-plagued wide receivers. Jesus Christ, who has faced more than Tua in one? The Deshaun Watson drama. Who has faced more? The offensive. Who's calling plays this week situation? Like, they have, tried to sabotage the man without trying to sabotage the man.
I'll give you one quarterback, and this is the hard thing about defining who Tua is. And again, I go back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick had the same problems last year, same people, same limited resources, and he scored a lot more points. He threw the ball downfield a lot more. So I don't know, and I don't know the answer here, okay? I'm not sitting here. But, yes, of course the completion percentage is boosted by the short passes, okay? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's reality, okay? You start throwing 15, 20 yards down the field, you're not going to be completing 78, 79% of your passes. No quarterback is. So to answer the question, yes. But the good thing is the first thing a quarterback has to do is not lose the games. He's not making the bad throws, the ones that are getting intercepted lately. And so that's a big step forward for an NFL quarterback. You're not losing games against teams where you're letting your defense really control play and scoring just enough. All right, the last time Miami faced the New York Jets, it was Joe Flacco at starting quarterback. This time I think he's in formaldehyde, and you'll get Zach Wilson, the rookie. Second pick overall in the 2021 draft. He's completing 56% of his passes, throwing for 1,741 yards, 6 TDs, and 11 interceptions. Talking about beating you. For this season, he has a 65.3 passer rating and owns a 2-9 record as a starter. What about Wilson's game has you concerned, Omar?
Absolutely nothing.
No, this is I'm with you. He's short hopping. I was watching. He's short hopping screen passes. It was like, wow. I'm not sure I've seen that in the NFL.
Oh, listen. And I get why teams have to play these young quarterbacks, and I like Zach Wilson coming out of the draft, but sometimes it's too much too soon, and these guys are not ready. And I think you could break them. I think Zach Wilson is on the fringe of being broken. I mean, look at Sam Darnold, and I'm not saying that Sam Darnold was a world beater, but the Jets kind of contributed to breaking him, and I think they're headed down the same path with Zach Wilson. This is probably one of the worst rookie seasons from a quarterback that the NFL has seen in a very long time. And I'm not sure there's any coming back from this.
Yeah, you know what? I watched him on TV a little in September. I don't see any development at all. You know, that's what you're looking for. Okay, if you're a Jets fan, where's the ray of hope that, okay, he's doing this now and he wasn't that. I see the same guy, and that's really across the whole franchise. I don't see this team developing at all.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's play Omar's favorite game, true or false. Kevin says, true or false, the Dolphins have a legitimate shot at the playoffs with all the other contenders playing each other over the remaining weeks.
That would be false. I don't see them winning 9 straight games. Like, think about the teams that win 9 straight games. Those are the Super Bowl contenders with the exception of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just don't see this team being a Super Bowl contender with their O-line issues, with their injury-plagued running backs, with their non-consistent running game. I just don't see it. And I think Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, and then Ryan Tannehill will stand in their way. One of those 3 individuals will get them. And I'm scared to say it, but I think it's going to be Tannehill. I think that's just the poetry.
You want the most pain possible, don't you?
That is just the
bring it on.
Sports Day.
Hit me again. Go ahead. No, I'm agreeing with you. It'd be pretty remarkable to win 9 straight, even though the 6-game winning streak, I'm counting this coming Sunday, the opponent's record in that 25-53. 25-53. And
you play who's on your schedule.
I agree. I agree. But what I'm saying is, all of a sudden you're going to be playing people who are a step up in competition. Okay, legitimate NFL teams, not the Jets and the Giants with Mike Glennon. Okay, so true or false, Omar? Duke Johnson will have the best game for the Dolphins running backs this season.
I'm going to go with true. I've always been a Duke Johnson fan. I ever since he was at UM, I would argue to you, Duke Johnson is probably the most talented player who's come out of there, probably since Jalen Phillips. I don't think his career took off because Cleveland got a barrage of backs who are workhorse featured backs, and then he kind of got platooned and pigeonholed in the third down back role and bounced around the league. I think Duke's got plenty left in his legs, and it would be so ceremonial if just COVID creates the opportunity for Duke Johnson to come out here and average 4.3 yards per carry, and then you're wondering to yourself, man, the whole run game could have looked like this the whole season?
Yeah, here's my concern, and I'm not going to dispute he might. I mean, there's not a high bar on great running back games. I think Myles Gaskin had pretty good one, pass catching and running early on. But my concern about the running backs is they're all the same. Usually you get a hammer and you get a guy like Duke Johnson or Myles Gaskin. There's no complimentary here.
4 scat backs.
Yeah. So
and then Malcolm Brown. I'm with you, Dave. This makes absolutely no sense. If there is major criticisms that I had about Chris Greer and Brian Flores and the people who are putting together this team The number one would be the offensive line. The talent acquisition has been garbage. And the number two would be the running back. Their approach at running back the last 3 years, when they could have had workhorses easily, they could have had the best running back in the NFL or the second or third or fourth. They keep choosing these scat backs and leaving the position as an afterthought and then wondering why they don't have a running game.
Yeah, the one, not even shining light, but the one hope for the Jets is Michael Carter, their running back. He got hurt the last game he's a 4th-round pick out of North Carolina. They're there. They're there is what I'm saying. Okay, Al Hill has a question. Excuse me. Jeff has a Jeff.
Let's
Jeff,
go, John G.
I'll go. True or false, the last 3 games of the season are a true gauge of Tua, and if he's the answer at quarterback.
Last 4 games, and I'd say true. But if Tua gets his team to a 9-win record, he's a starting quarterback moving forward.
No Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, I'm shooting a shot. But I think Green Bay would be insane to let Aaron.
They might not have a choice in it. We'll see.
It doesn't make any sense that they still have control of the contract. So, what is he going to do? Retire? That even though,
I hate to say, I don't think you're going to get your answer of Tua because it's a limited offense he's in right now. And we don't know, is it limited because that's all the coaches trust him to do, or the context, there's just not a talent to allow him to do what he needs to do. So, Al Hill, true or false, Chris Greer will not be back in 2022.
That's false. Nobody's getting fired around here. You've had Steve Ross as an owner for over a decade. What's been the one universal common theme? It's continuity. He believes in continuity till it runs its course. If it's going to run its course, it's going to be in 2022, and then he'll make changes. But he's going to let these guys build this team, and Chris Greer is going to be here as a GM.
John asked, true or false, Noah Igbenogany should be returning punts and kickoffs instead of our starting receiver and safety?
I'm actually going to go with true on this one. Igbenogany was a pretty decent kickoff and punt returner in college. You got to find a role for him. And it's not like Jalen Waddle or Javon Holland are actually doing good at the role. So why not at this point? And not only just that, but Preston Williams, right now with Javon Holland down, Preston Williams isn't doing anything. He should be the punt returner. Remember when people were all up in arms and in their feelings 3 years ago when Preston Williams, their top rookie receiver, got hurt returning a punt? And they're like, why is he on a punt return unit? Like, okay, put him back there as a punt returner. And he was pretty good.
This is like the number one irrational, and I've come around on this, but it's the number one irrational, arm waving. Why is he back there?
Yeah.
Whoever the best. Jalen Waddle, when they drafted him, they were saying he's a great return guy.
Yeah, he was a great returner.
I have no problem with using him. I have no.
Listen, no. He has
the only question with Jalen Waddle is he's got a lot of use this year, and it's his rookie year. So, maybe back off a little.
He's already survived like 3 injuries so far this season. I don't want my top offensive weapon returning punts. I don't. I don't see the value in it. And yeah, Jakeem Grant just scored a touchdown and scored 2 touchdowns in one game, and he had his typical Jakeem Grant.
Can't you be happy for Jakeem Grant that he
I am happy for
You're not
Jakeem.
happy. You're
You didn't let me finish. I was gonna say he's just extended his career 4 years. He has done. He's gonna have that one game where he just extends his career another 4 years, and he had that one game. Props to Jakeem. Clap it up.
You're not. Hey, that's very mocking. You're mocking him.
No, I'm happy for Jakeem. While we had our issues, I am happy for him. He's got a lot of kids. He's got a lot of mouths to feed. I want him in the NFL. I just don't think he's this whole theory that, he's going to be a dynamic receiver weapon. No, he's not. He's a return specialist. Know your lane, play your lane.
All right. John, Captain Charisma has our final one. True or false? Given Miami has the second largest projected cap space, based on what we're moving to the offseason already, based on what you've seen from the front office and Flores, do you trust them to make the right decisions with that cap space?
Hey, this is an important question. I wrote a column inspired by this question. This one, Captain Charisma, I stopped in my tracks and wrote that column because I was just like, wait a minute. They're going to have $77 million in cap space, which is the most in the NFL. And they have just had their second straight horrendous offseason. Like, not draft, but draft to the side. Free agency has been horrendous for 2 years.
You're right.
Should we trust them to spend $77 million, Dave?
Here's what I would do. You have a defense that can win a title. It makes another step next year. Hope all these young guys. You're trending that way.
No, there's no guarantee they trend that way.
They're trending that way. You
might not be able to sign Agba.
Young players get better. That's your theory.
That's what you thought. Then you went 1-7.
How much would you give a top line quarterback out of that $77 million? Say, here's $55 million. Come on down. Would you do that? Would you do an Aaron Rodgers, a Russell Wilson,
of course. I don't care. Of course. If somebody wants to dance, I'm dancing. Now, the one thing I will say that is a little bit scary to me is, outside of the legal issues that Deshaun Watson has, $43 million, second highest salary in the NFL.
That's what you pay for top end talent. I would. You have $77 million to spend next year. So the money's not an issue.
Hold on. Put a pin.
You can redo the contract, Omar. You can.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Sure. No, you can't. Not at that level. But think about this: the Houston Texans have the same amount of wins as Deshaun Watson's final year in Houston, and they're probably a worse team.
If you're suggesting that Deshaun Watson's not a great player. You didn't watch the year. You didn't watch his year last year.
It was a pretty good year. I'm just saying.
The question with Deshaun Watson isn't his talent. Okay, it's not his talent.
It's the legal troubles. Right. So let me ask you this question: he clears up the legal troubles. You're all good.
I am not good. I mean, how do you clear them up? You just pay him.
$12 million. I clear them up. You pay $12 million. They go away.
You think he's going to be a changed person here? Are we going to have? I mean, you've seen this before.
Yeah.
Okay?
No. It was scary to me. One of the people that I really trust inside the NFL basically was like, "Yeah, Deshaun Watson wants Miami because he wants to live in Miami." And I'm thinking to myself, I love Miami. These are the reasons I love Miami. Oh, that's not going to be good.
Yeah. All right. Prediction time, Omar. This is an easy one. This should be an easy one.
24-17 Dolphins. Just Zach Wilson's got nothing for him.
Yeah, I'm going to say 27-13. I think it's going to be a nice, easy, fun day in the sun for the Dolphins.
Yeah. My concern is if Elijah Moore comes back and Michael Carter comes back, might be a challenge. Those are two very talented players.
I mean, even with those two talented players, they have, 2 wins this year?
Yeah, I don't think they're above
3 wins. Yeah, 3 wins. So,
well, thank you for watching X's and Omar. This is always a pleasure to have you join us. For those who watch it live, for those who participate in the show, those who watch it afterwards, you can find X's and Omar on the Sun Sentinel website. You can also find it anywhere you find your podcast. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Play. It's on Spotify. Always a pleasure, Dave. We'll see you next Wednesday at noon.